that's amazing to me. You need to read about the 1863 draft riot and learn a little bit about that as well. But this notion of entrepreneurship in the modern era should be taught and learned, especially this period of time in which the Tulsa Riot took place. And like I said, it was on May 30th, 1921, that a white mob decided to go in and to kill black people in Tulsa, in the Greenwood District of Tulsa, and to burn down the businesses, some 600 is estimated, black-owned businesses in that particular section of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Officially, 300 people were killed, but unofficially, many more than that were killed. Right now, today, there was a geological survey done of an area that was said to be a mass grave, and they have proof now that it is a mass grave. They're not going to dig it up, but they had these instruments and checked the area, and they say that yes, this is a mass grave. Many black people were thrown into the Arkansas River. Many were shot down in the streets. Their homes were burned down. Their homes were ransacked first and then burned down. Their businesses were destroyed simply because they had the nerve, the audacity to have a business enclave that was owned and controlled by black folks that prospered. They weren't bothering anyone. They were on the other side of the tracks, taking care of their business, doing whatever they had to do to prosper. But somebody didn't like it and said, well, we have to go over there and destroy these folks. And it was done. And if you ever have a chance to go to Tulsa, Oklahoma, visit the Greenwood Cultural District and the Greenwood Cultural Center. And when I was there, I got a copy of a book that was put out that depicts the riot in Tulsa, Oklahoma. A lot of photos, a lot of distressing photos, a lot of information about the riot in 1921. It would take much too long to go into all the details about it. You can go on the internet, of course, and find information out about it. Right now, to this day, reparations have not been paid to the survivors of the Black Wall Street riot. There is an effort by Charles Ogletree and others to get reparations for the remaining survivors whose families were wiped out, destroyed. Those survivors are dying regularly now. They're 80, 90, 100 years old. But there's still an effort to make sure that they are compensated for their losses, their families' losses. But this is a very interesting book, and I would recommend that you get this. Even if you can't visit the Cultural Center, just go on the internet and do a search for the Greenwood District or the Greenwood Cultural Center, and you'll be able to get a copy of this. And it's in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Black Wall Street. Incidentally, there's a guy who was very famous in the riot that took place. He published a newspaper, and he was a very aggressive, a very outspoken young man, had a family, several children, I think 3 or 4 children. And guess what his name was? A.J. Smitherman. A.J. Smitherman was his name. And there's a photo of him that I saw, and he kind of looks like our Christopher Smitherman here in Cincinnati and his family. You know, he's a young man, had several children. Christopher has 4 children, 1 on the way. But he was very outspoken, wrote his newspaper and wrote in his newspaper and spoke out and said what had to be said the same way our Smitherman does. And I always wondered if they were related in some way. Smitherman's life was threatened. They were looking for him, A.J. Smitherman, and he managed to get his family out of Tulsa before they could kill him and his family. He moved to New York, and just recently in Buffalo, New York, they're celebrating his life in Buffalo, New York, where he ended up staying for a while. So that's an interesting piece of black history as well, black business history, and the fact that he owned a newspaper there. And he would have told the story about the Tulsa riot, but he had to leave real quickly, the same way Ida B. Wells was threatened when she was telling the story about lynching. She had to leave as well. That's what our people went through during that time, and that whole incident that took place in Tulsa, Oklahoma was one of the worst acts in this country against black people. And it was covered up for 50, 60 years. It never was published in the papers in Tulsa. They still haven't reconciled with the people. And it's something that you need to learn about and teach your children, because they're not going to read about it in their history books in school. Nobody in our schools are teaching that. Well, I shouldn't say nobody. There may be some teachers who know about it who are sharing that information. But in general, our children are not learning about this particular incident, and it's something that they should be taught in all of our schools. Some of the teachers don't even know about it, though, but there's no excuse for not knowing. There's too much access to information in this country.